My name's Daniel McCaffrey. This is part of a series, episode 4, of how the productive economy fits into the framework of the whole economy and the state political system, and how it produces all the wealth and prosperity that we enjoy. This description I'm about to give is how it pays all of the taxes. Every single tax that is paid in the economy to the state comes from the productive economy. Let's see how that works.
There's the income tax gathering system. The state collects about $32 billion in income tax. And the reason it all comes from the people in the productive economy is because, let's say when a welfare beneficiary pays tax, and they do pay tax, the money they pay the tax with comes from the state. You receive $190 in benefit, you pay $20 in tax. The whole $190 came from the state. And where did the state get that money? From the productive economy. It's the same with state servants. They get their money, so they get $100,000 from the state. They pay taxes of $20,000, but the whole $100,000 came from the state. The state had to have the $100,000 in the first place. So whilst it's true that the burden, the shouldering of tax throughout the entire economy, individuals pay tax, the origin of the money that the tax was paid with, in the case of welfare recipients and state servants, is the state, which could only get it from the one part of the economy that produces wealth and prosperity. It adds value to the raw materials, the work of the people, the work of the managers, the investments by the investors, and thus it is able to generate tax to the state, which of course pays it to the welfare recipients and the state servants, and then the state takes that back from those people. But it had to be there in the first place. It's the same with GST. The state receives about $25.9 billion in net GST. On the face of it, looks like everybody pays it. You go into a supermarket, you pay some GST, you buy some furniture, you pay some GST. But once again, if the state gave you the money with which you paid the GST, then it's a 0-0. The money had to come from the productive economy, from the GST that's paid by traders, sellers, purchasers in the productive economy. That's a net sum to the state. That the state didn't have to pay the GST in the productive economy, but for welfare recipients, if they receive $195 and they manage to pay $15 in GST, or a state servant get a salary of $100,000 and they paid $7,000 in GST throughout the year, that money came from the state. And if the state didn't pay it, didn't collect it, the state would be just as well off as before. So all GST is paid from the productive economy. Now, the company tax is pretty straightforward. Company tax isn't paid by state servants, it isn't paid by welfare recipients or all the other voluntary groups or so forth in the economy. It's paid by the actual enterprises, the companies, corporations, limited liability companies in the productive economy. And it totals about $13.6 billion. So the three taxes we've discussed so far collect about $71.5 billion. And it's my argument, I think strongly sustained, that it all actually comes from the productive economy. And to view the collection of income tax or GST as sort of broad collections across the population is incorrect. It all comes from one source, the only source that earns, creates wealth, taxes, and prosperity by work, effort, industry, management, investment, and the transforming of raw materials into goods of higher value, which are valued by the customers, of course, who are everyone in the productive economy.
So there you are. All tax is paid from the productive economy. And it doesn't come from some imaginary beast that exists out there that supplies all this tax. It comes from the very hard work of the people who work in it, the people who manage it, the people who own it, the people who take risks in it. Because this is the only part of our society and our economy that produces wealth, prosperity, savings for the future, and taxes for all the useful beneficial things that we receive from the state. In the next episode, we'll look at what could do this complex arrangement of trading, production, provision of services, what could do it harm, and the principle that should guide us in that event.